Today on Unsolved Florida, we are covering a requested case from the Florida Keys. In 1974, two teenage girls disappeared from a movie theater in Marathon, Florida. In the following decades, a fire would destroy all files and case evidence, leaving very little information available. Teresa Alfonso was 12 years old when she was dropped off at the Marathon Theater with her 16-year-old friend, Cynthia Gooding. The two supposedly told other friends they were planning to hitchhike to a nearby party after a movie. Due to a fire that destroyed police records and the general lack of media coverage, there are several discrepancies surrounding the timeline of the disappearance, including the date. The Charlie Project has the disappearance date for both of the girls as August 20th, 1974. However, nearly every other source, including the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and Information, given by Teresa's family, has the date in early September. Let's talk more about the girls. So Teresa was born on November 6, 1961. During her childhood, Teresa's mother remarried and incorporated her new married name into the children's last name, making her Teresa Alfonso Riggs. Sometime you will see her name in news reports as Teresa Riggs instead of Teresa Alfonso. In 1974, Teresa was a 7th grader. She was described as shy, timid, who is not known to run away from home. She was known for her sweet, quiet nature and the small gap between her front teeth. Teresa was very tall for her age, standing at 5 foot 2 inches, the same height as her older siblings. Teresa also went by the nickname Terry. Here is an age-progressed picture of Terry. While little is known about Cynthia Gooding's disappearance, even less is known about her life before it. Cindy was born on July 23, 1958, and had recently moved to Marathon from Portsmouth, Virginia, to be closer to family. The year of her disappearance, Cindy was a junior at Marathon High School, where she was classmates with some of Terry's older siblings and step-siblings. Unlike Teresa, Cindy was no stranger to hitchhiking. According to her family and friends, Cindy had a history of running away from home, often using hitchhiking as a means of transportation. It is rumored that Cindy had hitchhiked from Florida back to Virginia previously. While it wasn't abnormal for Cindy to drop out of sight for a few days or a weekend, she would always come back home to her family and never left for a significant amount of time. Here is an age-progressed picture of Cindy. According to sources and accounts from Teresa's extended family, the disappearance occurred on either September 2nd or 3rd of 1974. Just for reference, Labor Day was Monday, September 2nd, 1974. I do think it is a little crazy there's so many different days for the disappearance and why we don't have a solid confirmed date. Anyways, Teresa's mother, Mercedes, planned on dropping her daughter off at the local movie theater to join Cindy and some other friends for a matinee showing of the movie Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Some sources state that Mercedes and Teresa picked up Cindy on their way to the movie theater, but it's not confirmed. At some point that evening, Teresa and Cynthia disappeared from the Marathon Theater. Because there is little information about either of the disappearances, it is difficult to establish an accurate timeline of that day. Sometime after the movie had ended, the girls were reportedly seen talking to somebody in a white or light yellow van in the theater parking lot, which we will come back to that. One rumor speculates that Cindy's older brother told her about a party that evening. Cindy, who was used to hitchhiking, planned on getting a ride from someone. It is unclear if Teresa knew about this plan prior to the movies with Cindy, but neither girl ever made it to a party. Teresa's mom, Mercedes, was adamant that Teresa would have called her for a ride before hitchhiking, even if Cindy was with her. There is no information about a preceding investigation. Investigators originally suspected that the girls had run away and left on their own volition, but this theory was quickly dismissed. Since Teresa had no history of running away, Cindy's family in Virginia had not heard from them either, which ruled out the likeliness of the girls running away together. According to the Charlie Project, a fire destroyed the case files related to the disappearances of Teresa and Cindy. In August of 1995, a fire destroyed historic Key West buildings, including the Monroe County Library. But aside from the library incident, there is no information about a police department or police warehouse fire. So with the lack of evidence, information, and police effort, you can probably gather that there was nothing done in years past. In 2007, 7 unidentified bodies were exhumed in Key West in the hopes of identification with advancements in DNA technology. None of the remains matched DNA submitted by Teresa's mother and therefore ruled out to be Teresa. The article did not mention Cindy or if her family's DNA was ever submitted for testing. In 2013, detectives with the Monroe County Sheriff's Department launched a Facebook page dedicated to the missing and murdered cold cases in the Florida Keys. Teresa and Cindy's disappearance is reposted and shared on the page with hopes of bringing attention to the disappearance. That was the last update by Florida officials, which now has been 12 years. I showed pictures earlier while I was talking of the Marathon Theater. It is permanently closed and has been for quite some time. Here are some pictures of the building in the past and currently. It is now a storage facility. It doesn't seem that it was ever searched or the employees were ever questioned. Now, for my thoughts on this, if you're familiar with a lot of true crime, this whole case reminds me of the 3 girls from Texas who disappeared while shopping. Doing a little bit more research, there are many disappearances of girls together who aren't necessarily the same age. Maybe they're related, maybe they're not, such as the Leslie sisters from Arizona in 1974 and the Lyons sisters from Montgomery County, Maryland in March of 1975. A lot of people note the age difference, but Teresa was almost 13 and Cindy had just turned 16. And Cindy's sister has publicly said that the two of them were friends despite the 3-year age gap. I'm saying this because a lot of people online were speculating if Cindy was her babysitter or why they were together since they had an age difference and she was in a completely different grade. Cindy's sister also recalled that there were reports of the girls talking to a man known to the area. I had mentioned this before. His first name is David. We don't know his last name, in a white van. But that person was questioned by police and cleared. He was seen driving the opposite way as the party that the girls were going to. So I'm just gonna trust the police on that one, I guess. Cindy's brother was going to a party that evening and he did invite both girls, which is why they planned on hitchhiking. However, Marathon wasn't as big of a town as it is now, and it's not like they were getting a ride to California. It might have only been a 10-minute ride across town. Also, keep in mind that US 1 runs right through Marathon, the Keys, all of Florida, and all the way up to Maine. Many people have assumed it could have been a serial killer because so many serial killers, rapists that commit crimes along major highways, they do it so they can easily get away and not be detected. Also, something to note is that it was Labor Day weekend, which is a holiday. It's very possible, as the girls were hitchhiking, a tourist had a crime of opportunity, picked them up, and just kept on going right out of Florida. Sadly, Cindy's older brother was murdered in 2003. He was the one who spoke to Cindy last from their family and had lived with horrible guilt due to being the one who invited her to the party that they never made it to. Cindy's mother has also passed away quite a few years ago. Teresa's family still resides in Marathon. Her father passed away in 2011. Her family, along with the Gooding family, have spent decades wondering what happened that day at the Marathon Theater. In September, it'll be 50 years since Teresa and Cindy went missing. So please share this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and always, always, always report something to the police if you know something. Even if you don't think it's important, it might be the smallest detail that investigators need. I wish we had a little bit more information about the fire that supposedly destroyed these files. I know there's an angle there for a cover-up, but there's just not a lot of information or facts to back that up. So if you have any information on the girl's disappearance, please call the Marathon County Sheriff's Office at 305-296-2424. I know this was a long video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.